Hi there, it's Elaine Lindsay of True Social Media. I'm your host for Business Banter Plus TV, and today I'm thrilled to be here with Alyssa Thorne. Hello, Carly.
Hi, how are you? So thrilled to finally see you face to face.
Oh, I know. I was just sort of calculating earlier today. I had put up a post and was talking about the fact that we've actually been friends since 2012, since I think July. And my God, it's so strange to, I know a lot about you and I'm always, interacting with you. We met on Facebook. There's all sorts of connections that we have. And it's so funny to think we had never met in person or even face to face in a video, which was a bit bizarre. But go ahead.
Yeah, it's funny. I think it's the world of I think the whole technology genre is such a fascinating thing because on some levels it's so amazing. It's connected people globally. And then in other ways, we get so busy, we don't connect as much as we'd like. So it's kind of a very ambivalent things at times.
That's so very true. And it's funny, those of us that really started out in the hangout space, it was funny that early on in February of 2012, we all got together, 70 of us in New York City, to actually investigate like what it was we had built in being together for, at that point, about 10 months in Hangouts. So it's really interesting you say that, because there is a whole contingent of us that do a lot of video that still want to be sure we get that sort of in-person connection wherever we can. It's a lot harder when we're a continent apart, like you and I. On that note, I just want to give you, I'm only going to give you a little bit of Carly's background because, believe you me, we could be here all afternoon just talking about who Carly is, what Carly does, what she's done, and everything that goes into this incredible human being. She's a speaker, she's an author, she's a business consultant, a producer and director. Like, think about that. She's all about link locally, connect globally, which really speaks to my feelings on relationships. And I think that's so important. Her group is called Conscious Business Collaborations, Social We Media, and We Leadership, which is really cool. Carly's younger than me. I'm not going to say an age here because I know ladies don't like that. But you've spent the last 25 years, I understand, mapping out a detailed blueprint from years of sculpting and integrating, refining, and educating yourself, and working in areas which you refer to as multi-sensory, psychology, theology, philosophy, and self-improvement, which to me is just wow. Now, I know that Carly also interviews people, and she's got a list as long as your arm. Carolyn Mize, T. Harv Eker, Mark Victor Hansen, all people that I absolutely respect as much as I respect Carly. So I am absolutely grateful and thrilled to have you here. Something that you and I have in common is you believe in never, ever giving up. And that's another reason I want to have you on the show. So welcome, and I'm sure you could add some good details about you that the audience can take in for themselves.
Well, I'm not going to give an elaborate slew of who I am because I find that really, all the credentials in the world mean nothing. What it really means is what their outcomes you provide for clients. The only thing I'm going to make a correction on is like Carolyn Mize, Mark Victor Hansen, T.R. Record. I've taken all their courses. Them I have not interviewed because I don't want to.
I'm sorry.
I have interviewed, Bob Berg, Larry Wingdit, Catherine Ryan Hyde, all these amazing authors and people. The list, like you said, is very long. I just don't want to say, especially at that level of speakers, when you say, oh, you've done this, and then they go and find it and say, oh, no, you didn't. So I'm all about, for me, integrity and ethics. So I really wanted to just clarify that. Other than that, yeah, I've taken lots and lots of courses with some of the top leaders in self-development, and have years in courses in self-development. So I've learned a lot, and that's where I've taken that blueprint you were talking about, is taking all these different courses and pulling from T-Harp and pulling from here and pulling from here. And then my background being in Eastern philosophies, I grew up overseas and learned a lot about, world theology and different social psychology and just the way we interact. And as you and I were talking about Eastern philosophies and mind, body, for me, business spirit, because that's a whole nother story. Her and I have a very deep medical background with our wonderful surgeries and never give up mentality and positivity. So I've taken those Eastern philosophies and realized what amazing multi-sensory human beings we are. And if you tie into that, finding out about neurolinguistics and finding out that some people are audio, some people are digital, some people are visual, some people are kinesthetic, all these things play out when you do, like you and I do, social media. And why we're doing this videos, because we realize people want to see a face, they want to see the body language, they want to see the nuances. And then I also create a podcast because some people just want to listen because they actually do better listening, and us moving is a distraction for them. So I really got into multi-sensory multimedia and tying in all those other nuggets, and I love it. I'm absolutely very, very passionate about it. And as you and I know, we could talk forever because I also love Eastern philosophies. And for me, it's all about bridging the two and teaching people how to use both and, not black, white, have to do this or have to be this way. Get out of the box and learn how to bridge the two.
Well, that's such a good point, and I believe that we're moving into a bigger consciousness and a bigger view of the world. People are realizing that globally, although we have all these different, Eastern and Western and what have you, the underlying basics of everything is really the same. Okay, people and business want to work with people they know, like, and trust. Doesn't matter where you are in the world. It doesn't matter Eastern, Western. It's all about connection. And I think that transcends all of it.
It does. And I've always, since I was very young, actually, I've always had a logo where it's the globe and all the multicolored hands holding the globe, if you look at any of my designs. Yeah. And then it says, we're all interconnected. I've always believed that. And I've always had the butterfly because for me, my life has always been an evolving transformation, right? So butterflies are transformation. The globe is the world. To me, media, social media, the internet, the world, these hangouts is literally a whole global connection. I really do believe that even consciously or unconsciously, we are connected collectively. And when I got approached to run Link Local Network, who's a very good friend of mine, Fred McMurray, it really resonated with me because their logo was Link Local, Connect Globally. So I already had the brand of We Are All Interconnected, and I already had the domain social media and all these things. For me, everything's about we leadership, right? I think social media, too many people forget, it's not just about broadcasting and posting. It's literally having that two-way conversation. And so, yeah, Link Local. So the other company that's all the social media and branding and marketing is Link Local Network. And just the tagline for that is Link Locally, Connect Locally. So that was just a beautiful segue for me in terms of bringing that arm into my world. And then my other stuff that you saw, like on my website, is all my consciousness and my consciousness courses. So, and so they're bridged, yet a little bit divided because our society, some people are lawyers and doctors or people that are very linear analytical need different wording or different approaches to different things.
Yeah, and you actually said that in when we're talking about the 4 types of learning and how people take in information. It is often related to, how people are seen in the corporate world. You've got those 4, you've got the 4 ways to learn, and then you also have the linguistics of how do you meet people where they are? How do you make it so that you can understand each other, not so much in necessarily the same language as in English, French, German, but as in the same language as in the words that mean something to them. It's one thing if you and I have a conversation and we talk about all the social media buzzwords, that's not really going to help a client. it's fine for social media people to talk among themselves. But when you're dealing with clients on whatever level, you really have to go to them where they're at.
You make a really valid point there. Too many people are attempting to teach from a place of it's my way or the highway and I know better than. And like that is, for example, one of the reasons why you'll see anywhere in my site that I'm an expert in, because I truly believe that no matter where I am in this planet, if you will, on this, right, there's always something more for me to learn. And so for me to say I'm the expert in multimedia, multi-sensory, or social media is literally asinine, excuse my language, but it is, because there's always someone that knows more than me. There's always new technologies evolving. Like we were talking about Google Hangouts, again, evolving and all the little changes, right? So, and I know everyone, and I know a lot of people get mad at me for saying this, because in media world or marketing world, or to be known, you have to be an expert, and I don't really like that word, have to, be an expert in something, right, to get the kudos or the recognition that you are. And I truly believe what it boils down to is that what are you arriving at with your clients? What are you achieving with them? It's the outcomes. I have a really, really long list of credentials and certifications, and that's all wonderful. Yet none of that means anything at the end of the day, because it's how I interact with my clients and the outcomes that I achieve for them, and not achieve for them. It's with them. That's another thing I'm really key about. And I do a lot of conscious hiring. Like, you saw in my courses, they're all trilogies, 3 words. And it's about teaching people how to conscious hirely and how to communicate with people. When I look for a new client, if they're going to look at me and go, I'm paying X amount of dollars, and so I expect you to do everything, I won't take that client. We have to learn to say no to things that aren't a fit for us. And I truly believe for me to have effective outcome for a client, they have to participate and have a 2-way relationship with me. Yes, my team does a lot of the work. However, I need them to be willing to work with me on the development and hear what their wisdom is within them, so that I am speaking their voice in an appropriate way. If they just say, here's the project and run with it, people are going to know it's not them, because it's going to be my voice, not theirs.
Yeah, I believe and always have, no matter what I was doing, that your getting together with your client it's a marriage. You have to, there has to be give and take. You have to interact with the client, and you each have to bring pieces to the table. And it's great that you said that. Back a little bit, you were saying, people tend to expect, well, here, do it this way. I have finally agreed to use the term expertise, in that on that constant road of knowledge in learning, I am aiming to have expertise in what interests me most, what my passions are. And I know for a fact you have incredible expertise. The difference, I think, in people who immediately proclaim themselves experts is sometimes you can't go forward once you sort of put that out there that way. And many actually decades ago, when I was doing interior decor, I would often find that I would go into homes and have to be changing things around, because I'd had someone come in, a decorator, who did a wonderful job that suit the decorator. And I used to think, that is so weird to me. If you're going to get a client, then you listen to the client. They're the one that has to live there. And I think social media is basically the same thing. We work with our clients. We have to be involved. And like you, it's funny, but in my contracts with my clients, it's all about we have to spend time together. And when exciting things happen, on the client's premises or in the client's, back end, we can't always know that as social media people. We're not right there. So it behooves them to help themselves by making sure they share all their wins with us. And not just when they have an issue that they want to fix, a little reputation thing or whatever's going on the net, but you want them to bring all their goodies to us as well.
And it's true that I think a lot of people don't communicate enough. They just figure since they pay you, it's like, I don't need to communicate you except when I get the invoice or when there's a problem.
Yeah.
And I think if you just set up weekly meetings, like a lot of our clients, we have weekly meetings, then you have the opportunity to discuss, hey, what's going on in your life? I'm going to add one more thing. A lot of people necessarily don't like that I say this, but I'm all about just saying things that I know, to me, it's just different. And it isn't right or wrong. This is just me. I also feel that when you're working with a client, there has to be some sort of friendship. And I tell you why. Because if there's not a friendship, a friend will actually be willing to tell you anything. Now, feedback is feedback, and we all have the right to choose to react, respond, or take it in and go, let me look at this point of view. And so I don't think when you have just a work relationship, right, okay, you pay me and you're the client, a lot of times they're not willing to have that feedback because they're also not willing to share themselves. My clients know about my past. My clients know, like, oh, whatever. And I also know about their little trials and tribulations. And what that does is creates the freedom. And I think this is where a lot of people think, I said they don't like, is they think that it crosses boundaries. Like if you have this type of, it's supposed to be just business, right? Mm-hmm. And I have found that the closer I am to my clients and the more even there's that friendly dynamic with my relationship with my clients, I get more from them, more information, but then I know who they are underneath, what their values are at home, what their values are with their family, what are their passions, what are the hobbies, and what does that do for me? It enables me to create a brand and a message that is personal, not just business. Because at the end of the day, even though Elaine may be the head of her company, and there's a title, right, of that company, they still know that you are the person behind that brand. So they want to know about you beyond the brand. Who is Elaine? What does she love to do? What is her home life like? So, those types of things. Yeah. And so I have found the more straightforward I am about my past or my mistakes, or I'm not saying you sit there and you share dirty laundry. I'm saying you share of each other in a way that allows someone to really get to know you. Yeah. And yes, sharing mistakes I think is also very valuable, because here's the thing, and I use this analogy all the time, and I'm sure you've heard of this one many times. Would you go to a priest who's never been married and ask about marriage and kid advice? Yeah. Okay. So if people know that I've had trials and tribulations, I've had multiple surgeries, or I've had past trauma, and okay, that's the big word. And I have all this, like you say, expertise over, and I like that word. And it is a very different word than being an expert. Yeah. Expertise is I'm learning and I'm growing. Expert is I know everything and I don't need anything else. Yeah. And they know that I have all these areas of expertise because of my trials and tribulations and my certifications and the education. That they're like, wow, this person's going to get me, because they may not know it, but I also have a little bit of that background. And then once you start forming that relationship, they go, wow, I have had, either surgeries or, someone passed away in my life, or, I grew up with whatever. And that enables them to more empath with me and me to empath with them, which allows the freedom of communication to share. Literally, I don't like this. I have like a lot of my clients, we have an unwritten rule that you can have a little rant and you can have a little, like, just go blow off steam because you need to. At the end of the day, I know I'm not taking it personally. And they also know that occasionally I'm going to go, you're not listening, or please listen to me on this, because I do know a little bit about this. So by having that relationship, it gives you the dynamic to be free to share and say whatever you need to say without having, oh my God, I'm going to hurt their feelings. I'm walking on eggshells. I don't want to hurt anyone, all that dynamic. I don't want any of that dynamic. I want just like honesty, truth, just like say what you mean, and do it in a way where, you don't have to be nasty about it. Occasionally emotions get involved. We're human, right? So I think that's why I personally value having the friendship connection too, not just you're my client and I'm your, whatever. Yeah. No, and that's a really good point. And something that I often say to clients and everybody else is, when it comes right down to it, people do business with people, not business. So I don't care if you're IBM or you're Google or you're the mom and pop bodega on the corner. People will do business with the person, the entity that they interact with, that makes them feel special. Because that's what it's all about. If we treat everyone we interact with the way we want to be treated, then you know what? Life is golden, because that's, to me, what it's all about. Yay, you brought up something that was perfect. Okay, you just said we teach people how we want to be treated in a way, right? I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
Okay, so the show is a little bit about social media. So here's a big nugget. I have people tell me all the time, I will not make my page public. Now, because they're afraid people are going to post on their page. Well, here's the thing. One, I tell all my clients, yes, to have a Facebook business page. However, unless you want to spend dollars, Facebook pages will get a lot of traffic, unless we boost posts and do some ads.
Yeah.
It's just the reality of it. They're a business. They want to make money. Okay. Why aren't you using your Facebook personal profile? People are like, well, but that's just for my family. I said, okay, so then create another profile that's just for your family and your friends, and it's your nickname or whatever the heck it is. And my Alyssa Thorne has always been public. And therefore, the whole 5,000 number disappears. Anyone can write on my wall. And here's the thing that you just said. We teach people how to treat us. People are like, oh, people are going to write things on my wall I don't want. And they're going to, well, there's settings. There's settings for community. There's settings for all these beautiful things. And one of them is because what I post, people see what I post. And therefore, they post what they see I post. Absolutely. Since I post positivity and I don't have rants, I tell my clients 3 key things. Never post politics unless you have a politic page.
Yeah.
Anything overtly sexual. I don't care if it's a bubble bath picture, because that's an open invitation for comments. And nothing religious, because you open the doors for Pandora's box of opinions. All right. Now, again, if that's your niche, create a page for that.
Yeah.
However, your personal profile, you want to, again, teach people what you want on your wall. I choose to have my wall positivity, education, motivation, empowerment. Does it mean that I'm joyous 24/7? No. I'm like everybody else. I have my meltdowns. Okay. However, I still choose to, as much as I possibly can, be in that state of mind. And by the way, there's something called, when people, let's say you're worried about people posting on your wall, I have to accept all posts in terms of the tags, right? Therefore, if someone does send me a post and it's something that is one of those things that I do not want on my wall, it's going to be hidden from my wall. So when people say to me, and again, going back to what we said, it's a two-way conversation. If I go to someone's page and I can't post a happy birthday, I don't want to be involved with you, because the whole point is social media is supposed to be a two-way conversation. That means I have to take the extra step to inbox you and or send you a private email and or all these other extra steps that with our busy lives we don't have time to. Make your pages as easily accessible to people. And you set your boundaries. Why? How? By what I post, right?
Absolutely.
So I get this argument all the time from clients or people. Oh, well, I'm a mega author. I can't have my page public. I'm like, you're a mega author. You have a staff, do you not? Do they not, or you hire a social media team, have them monitor your page?
Well, yeah, we have the right to allow, and to dictate exactly what goes on the page. If you don't allow anything, to me, then I don't understand why you're using social media at all. You know, having the settings, the security and the privacy settings, but more than that, and maybe it's because I believe that we're conscious, I always set the intent for what I want to get on my page and what I want to give to people. And if your intent is pure, then there's no issue. You know, and I'm not saying, you know, sometimes there have been a couple of inappropriate things posted. One time somebody got hacked and their account was taken over. You know, this person is not somebody that would post inappropriate pieces. And as soon as they knew, we all alerted Facebook and it was corrected pretty quickly. Those things can happen. I mean, let's face it, there's a lot of, to me, damaged and hurt people out there, because those people that lash out at others, the trolls that we see, you know, think about it from their perspective. I know sometimes it's hard to feel bad for people that are bullying and vicious to people online, but just imagine the world of hurt they're living in to be able to lash out like that.
You made such another wonderful, I love it when you bring all these little points up, because a beautiful segue. Okay, so I love Dr. Joanne White. She does a lot of bully-free content. She's doing a beautiful bully-free ebook, and it's about a lot of things. It's also, I always look at the world of underdogs, because I believe the underdogs are the people that are willing to rise above and never give up. And so you have to understand, you have to be able to empath. I told you before, I grew up with sexual, verbal, and physical abuse. And when I was younger, trust me, I was angry. I was like very, very, very angry. And at some point, you have to choose to want to get out of the situation. Just like a drug addict or an alcoholic, someone needs to bottom out or feels in so much pain that they can't take anymore for them to make the choices to choose to change. And I say this over and over and over again. We constantly have choice points in our life. And at some point, if you're not willing to forgive self, because a lot of it is also self-hatred, you don't like your body because of, there's all these issues that come up from all the, whether it be verbal, I don't care who you are, if it's verbal abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, sexual, so whatever it is, bullying, or all these things, it affects people's self-esteem. And so we start being super hypercritical of ourselves and then of others. The minute we can choose to forgive self and forgive the other person and realize that if that person's doing that, you don't think they're coming from something. Like, I knew that some people that abused me, that they had, after I started digging, had their own past of abuse. It's not like someone's just going to innately just go abuse a child, right? There's always something, or a bully. A bully isn't necessarily going to bully someone unless they've been literally bullied or hurt. So if we can look at it from that perspective, that there's people that are hurt or lashing out or having rants on Facebook or whatever it is, they're coming from a place of hurt, and they haven't learned to forgive self and others yet. And we're just all teachers. We're just like this one big mix of teachers for each other. Yeah. And so when someone triggers us, it's usually something that we have to work on. And I know this. I might get triggered, and I have to look at it in that moment going, oh, yeah, that's right. That's from XYZ. And we have to then be willing to step up, rise above, and go seek help, or whatever that is. It could be a mentor, it could be a counselor, it could be a priest. I don't care what it is for you. We have to be willing to be brave enough and strong enough, it's not weak, to go get help. Because if you don't find that pot of people to, and I'm not saying you have to go to a group, some people don't like those type of environments. I don't care what it is. Whatever works for you, you need to find something, somehow, someone, just whatever it is that you can then choose to change the behavior or rise above and have empath for other people. And when you do that, you'll see that your pages will change. Those people will feel that energetically, whether we know it or not, we feel these. How many times have you thought of someone, you've gotten a phone call? Yeah. Or you've thought about your mother and you got a card in the mail or an email or whatever it is. We unconsciously feel these things. So you want to know how your pages will be what you want them to be. It's like you said, it's intention. It's what you put out there. And mind you, I think in all the years I've been on social media, I've maybe had to block 5 people. And now let me paraphrase this. Before, I don't advise blocking. I suggest first having an inbox saying, you wrote this on my wall and I deleted the comment. I want to let you know why. I usually give the person the opportunity to delete it themselves. If they won't, then I'll say, I'm really sorry that you're choosing not to delete this. And I understand that in your mind, you have the freedom to state your opinion. It's not the opinion, it's the way you stated it. And I choose to have my wall like this. Now, some people say that's censorship. It's my wall. I'm not saying you can't say it, freedom of speech and say it anywhere you want. However, it is my page. Therefore, I do have the right to have what I want on my page. So I don't consider that censorship. No. I inbox them and have a conversation with them. And then if they're still getting ranty or bullying or whatever it is, then, not only would the comment be deleted, then I would block. That is the only thing. Just don't automatically block people because that starts a war. Why are you doing that? Have the conversation first. It could be very minor misunderstanding. Could be different points of view, whatever that is. So anyways, okay, I'm going to let you talk now. But anyways, you said that, and it was like a perfect opportunity. You're not.
Oh no, that was so good. Okay, that's why I have you here. This is what I want to hear, and it's this is awesome because we're talking about all the things that really do matter, and it's unfortunate when people are so deep in the fear, because I, like you, can admit to, just after my accident, I was not a nice person. Okay? When you are so deep in the pain that you can see nothing else, it's really hard to be happy Harry, And I grew up being a real Pollyanna. I always looked, I played the glad game. I looked on the bright side. I have a very kind of wicked sense of humor, and that often got me through bad times. But I would say I could be really sarcastic and probably not the most empathetic at times. It was like, yeah, suck it up, buttercup. But, you go through these things, and everything we do is a choice. Okay? If you just allow yourself to react and don't take the time to be mindful and choose what you do. I work with a spiritual mentor who talks about being in your driver's seat. The limbic brain takes over and it just does its own thing. And that, once you realize that's happening, that's when you can come back to that place of choice. We're not so deep always in social media, but understanding that, yes, your page, no matter what channel you have, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, Google+, LinkedIn, even if you've got a subreddit, okay, those pages are yours, and you have the right to have it enjoyable, whatever suits you, which is absolutely fine. I can tell you, I have a friend on Facebook who is a comedian. He is a comedian in an area that, to me, is horrifically inappropriate. But he is the gentlest, kindest soul who has been friends with me for years, and I adore him. And we have decided that I just will not frequent his page. Everything we do and talk about is either on my page or in messages because I'm a big prude.
You brought up another great one, and I forgot to say that. The fourth thing I tell people not to post is jokes, and I'll tell you why. Because third world countries, male, female, a female may take a joke differently than a male. Different personalities, like you said, you have a different value system when it comes to them. And even though they may be very innocent jokes, it's not worth hurting someone's feelings. Yeah. I don't care if it's a cartoon joke. It's not worth it. Like you said, I have jokes too, and it's personally inbox because I know that person has jokes. They like jokes about blah, blah, blah. I may like jokes about blah. You might like jokes about blah, blah, blah. However, we are not the same. All of us have different feelings, emotions. Some people are very, very sensitive. Like I said, in a third world country, whether it be India, China, Japan, South America, Central America, what we may deem funny, they may deem offensive.
Absolutely, absolutely.
If you look at social media as a global platform, so those are the four things. Like, I'm so glad you're like right in tune. So no jokes, nothing religious, nothing overtly sexual, and nothing political. And the joke one, it seems so innocuous. So everyone just, the other three they get. But the joke one, people are like, you're nuts.
Yes.
Literally, that's the comment I get, They're like, it's a joke. If that's such an innocuous thing to some people, it's not to others. Like, I knew I grew up being teased. I have to this day, I have to check myself because when people are teasing me, that reflex of defensiveness is there.
Yeah.
Right? So I know myself. I know I don't take jokes real well, and so it's not worth it. That's all I'm going to say. If you're looking to create a platform where there's free, loving, communication, where you're educating people, my motto is empowering, inspiring, motivating, and educating people. If you're doing one of those four things, you're golden. And people are like, well, that's like censoring yourself. I'm like, no, because that's actually, that's what I want. I also want people to motivate, inspire, empower, and educate. Well, I'm only putting out there what I also want to receive. It's not like you said, a Pollyanna mentality of I'm only going to put, all. And I also don't believe ranting on my page. If I'm going for surgery, I always say I'm going because other people are like, where are you, right? Now, do I sit there and go, oh my God, I'm in so much pain? No. Do I post a picture from the hospital? Because everyone, yes, right? And you can see my legs really swollen, or they can see the long scar or the lump, or whatever it is. And there's a story out there about me. Long time, one of my surgeries, when I had my knee replaced, you know how it is with these interviews. Sometimes you don't know when you book the interview, when your surgery date is going to come up. Yeah. So I had an interview that took 6 months to get. And all of a sudden my surgeon calls me and goes, hey, your surgery is blah, blah, blah. Right? I knew that I'd be still in the hospital, and like literally like 2 days after the surgery. And I had a choice point, cancel the interview or do the interview. So I argued with the nurses, and I'm like, look, I need a wheelchair. And they're very combative about giving you a wheelchair in your room because of liability. You could fall.
Yeah.
No, you have to call someone, bring you the wheelchair. Then I'm like, no, you don't understand. I want the wheelchair by this time so I can get washed up, get real clothes on, and I want to go out to the courtyard. So this argument goes on back and forth. I finally bugged them really early in the morning, and I wash myself up, put my real clothes on, and I actually wheel myself out to the courtyard. And I did an hour-long interview on morphine. Right. You know, and it actually was a really good, and that time I made that mental intention, block the morphine, be present, right? Yep. And I did an hour-long interview. And, you know, it's we have the choice to be the victim or be the victor. We have the choice to tell people how much pain we're in. And I'm not saying I know what you went through. I know, like, when I'm in that space, and a lot of times people are like, I don't understand it. You're walking, you're having us over, and, you know, don't you feel pain? I said, of course I feel the pain, right? It's just, I don't, I've had so many surgeries, and I've had such a high pain threshold. Not that that's a good thing. I just have learned to kind of be present when I need to be.
Not only that, okay, I don't want the pain to live my life.
Exactly.
I'm living my life. Yeah. And that's why there are times that you just fight through it and do it anyway.
Yeah, for me, it's always never, ever give up. Because we always have the choice. And I don't mind you, look, when I say that, people are like, oh, you've never wanted to give up? I said, of course I've wanted to give up. There are times I've crawled in the hole or crawled in my bed and had my little crying pity party. I'm not saying I've never had those. I still choose a mentality of, okay, how do I get out of this? What do I need to do to have that mentality back of never, ever give up? I mean, we're all human beings. We all have our days. We're not like, you know, her and I aren't just like Pollyanna superwomen because we have all bionic limbs and stuff, right? It's not that. It's just that, you know, we have our times when we have our little pity parties like any other human being will. And then we choose to rise above and get our attitude back. You know, it's just a choice. We're not better than anybody else. It's just a choice.
It's a choice, and I call it wallowing. So I allow myself my wallow times. But, you know, it has a start time and an end time. And when that's over, okay, we're done. And that may not happen again for a few months. But having that wallow time, I think keeps us all a little bit sane. You just let it, woo-hoo-hoo, poor me. And then it's like, okay, done.
And what you said is really important. And I want to touch upon this because I don't think people realize this as well. It's important to validate your feelings, what you're feeling. To say, like I said, you know, Pollyanna, you have to honor what you're feeling, because if you don't, it's going to keep on coming up. So feel it, honor it, and then let it go. And people are like, huh? How do I do that? And like, you have to feel it. You have to be willing to feel it. And then once you do that, it's amazing how fast it'll go away. If you don't, if you just stuff it and stuff it and stuff it, it's like it's a, you know, right? Yeah. It's that time bomb. So honor it, feel it, then let it go.
Yeah, and you're right about the time bomb thing, because, yeah, long ago that was me. I wasn't going to allow myself to feel any of it. You just don't know. Yeah, suck it all in. And the next time some poor person, you know, cuts you off in traffic or goes ahead of you in the grocery store and takes the last can of beans, well, you know, the lid pops off and all hell breaks loose. It's like, yeah, that's that doesn't work. You gotta just, well, it's again the suck it up buttercup, but talking to yourself, sometimes it's a matter of just, you know what, get into those feelings, let yourself be, let yourself cry, let yourself feel horrible, let yourself, you know, just be with whatever it is, the pain, the sorrow, the grief, the anger, just be in it. Because like you say, it ends an awful lot faster than you think.
It does. I grew up being, lifting weights at a very early age because of the bone things. And it was always, this armor of muscle. And I actually learned, my doctor said, you just push through things, you muscle through it. And they finally said, at some point, you're going to have to find the place of, yes, having that tough exterior to get through what you're going through, and allowing. And I never did that. I was always like, just tough little cookie, and no one was going to do, I was all by myself, and that, and it's a disservice to self and others, because you have to understand, when we're going through whatever we're going through, others want to help and they don't know what to do.
And
so you give them something to do. You have to understand where they're coming from too. And you can also set guidelines saying, look, if I'm being this way, it's just because I love you, I care about you, and I need this. You also need to understand where they're coming from. To cut them completely out is actually really hurtful to them. And because everyone's human, they have a heart, they want to help. That's a natural inclination. We do not like to see people suffer.
Absolutely. And, we have the adages that we do for a reason. No man is an island. You know what? That's true, because we can't go it alone. Okay, I know there's a lot of people like us. That was my thing, was, no, I'm just going to handle it all myself. I'll take care of it. We're not going to foist this on anybody else. That, in the end, actually is so detrimental, because when you finally allow someone in, they're so hesitant because you've never done that, it's really hard on everyone. And it's a lot easier to reciprocate and be there for other people when you understand that makes them feel good when they can be there for you.
There's another little key thing I'd love to share in this, because a lot of people don't know this. And I learned this from I had to do a lot of studying, because I also worked with hospice and people who were dying, and working with a lot of kids that had autism or whatever. And some people like to be touched, some people don't. So there's something that's very fascinating. We as human beings have an inclination that when someone starts crying, you want to go hug them.
Yeah.
And there's a very important thing I found out. And it was amazing once I actually started applying this. When we're crying, we're actually processing our feelings. The minute you touch someone or hug someone, you take them out of that and they don't process. Even now, as horrible as this may sound, even if a little child's crying, like if they fell, the best thing you can do is literally, oh, oops, I'm sorry, acknowledge that they fell. Don't go to the rescue right away. I'm not going to swoop them up and start hugging them. Allow them to process what they're feeling in that moment and make them feel secure. So it's kind of like, oops, oh, you're okay. And then if they had let them cry for at least a little bit so they can feel and process, and then approach. We don't understand that the minute we touch someone or hug somebody, we automatically, when you do that, they're like, oh, now they're with you, and they're not literally in their own body processing that pain, that fear, the anger, whatever it is. And so if you allow them that moment, they would be able to do that. It would go through, and then you can go up and say, oh, would you like a hug? Or, would you want to talk? Don't interrupt someone's processing. And it's really hard when you have a child, because you innately want to just move them up. Yeah. Or even if it's a loved one, a spouse or, whatever. But I think it's harder with children for parents to understand that.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting thing I learned. And I really found when I started applying that, it was like, wow. And I also would say to my friends, if you see me in this space, just allow me that space. And then, So anyway, I thought I'd share that. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, no, it's not just interesting. Actually, it's important, because allowing children to process their feelings when they're little gives us better adults. Okay, they're more well-rounded. They understand how to handle their feelings. They're not so busy, in some cases like me, stuffing them out of the way. I grew up and my aunt was very, very ill. And my whole life as a child, I was always holding my breath, because if the phone rang, it meant we either had to drive 300 miles or we had to, go to a hospital somewhere. And it's a very weird way to grow up, because I learned that, we don't have time. We don't have the space for you to have your feelings. And it wasn't an intentional thing. I mean, I had wonderful parents. I adore my parents. Okay, we lost my mom 3 years ago, but I still have my dad. Absolutely, great family, very small. There's only 2 kids, but it was all concern was for my aunt. And as an adult, her and I talked about the fact that I always felt guilty as a teenager because I would rush out of the house on a Friday night as fast as humanly possible because I didn't want the phone to ring. Because if the phone rang, it meant my weekend was shot. And I always felt guilty. And my aunt told me in my 20s, she said, well, of course, well, I wouldn't want to be hanging around. What kind of life is that to just always be waiting for the phone to ring? It was no fun for her. Absolutely not. But that was her reality,
And that's interesting. I think that's the point where we need to allow people to have the reality, and you can also have that conversation of, I love you, I care about you, and it's not that I don't want to be here. I am, but I also need, and I keep catching myself saying "but," which is something I usually do not say. And. And I can explain why in a minute if you want. It's just very important to allow others and to have the conversation so that there isn't that guilt and those feelings where you need to talk. We need to. I think our society has made it so, because of the whole feedback loop, that we are not allowed to share how we feel. You have the right to say whatever you need to say. It's in all how you have the communication. Yeah. And this is going to get into the but. So I'm going to say, Elaine, I love you, but what are you waiting for something to happen?
Yeah, well, because you just negated everything you said.
Right. I love you and.
Yes.
So the minute we say but, and it's funny because when I talk to other people that use the word, then it gets into my consciousness.
Yeah.
It's literally like you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like, you just told me something really amazing, and you got speakers on stage and they'll say a really valid nugget, and all of a sudden they go, but, and literally it's a stopgap. You literally stop. You're literally, your being actually just goes, I'm at a stop sign, right? Yeah. So it's really important that we really listen to the language we use. Another one is, so I always replace buts with and. Another one is that it's really interesting in this whole industry is all these diet programs. Does diet sound fun?
Yeah.
That's restriction. I want to lose weight. Well, if you lose your keys, what is your natural inclination?
Is to go find them.
Right. So why do you want to lose weight? We don't realize that a lot of things, it's semantics, and I get it, semantics and nuances. The way we self-talk and the words we use is very different. If I say, I want to release 10 pounds, I want to lead a healthy lifestyle. I actually had this guy, I just listened to an interview, it was wonderful. And I was so excited to listen to this because he was like, oh my God, he gets it. He said, I had a mentor, and he was in a health program. And his mentor finally said to him one day, "Do you go to the gym?" And the guy knew they did, but he was getting there. He goes, well, why do you go to the gym? Because I want to lose weight. And the guy goes, why do you want to go to the gym? To be healthy. In other words, we need to realize the words we're using. If you're going to the gym strictly to lose weight, guess what? The weight won't come off if you've actually studied the law of attraction. And yes, I know a lot of people think it's woo-woo. It's really not if you actually study it properly and use it properly. Yeah. What we focus on expands. So if I am constantly saying what I don't want, that is what I'm going to get. If I use the wording of, and see, a lot of people find this Pollyannish, like, well, I can't speak positive all the time. I can't, it's just words. It's like, wouldn't it be nice if by November 31st, I released 10 pounds. You want to start putting the energy in the words of the things that you do want in your life. But if you're constantly telling people the things that you don't want, no one wants to be around a negative nilly-nilly and hearing them saying, oh, my life sucks, and I don't want this, and I don't want that, and oh my God, this client is this. And nobody wants that. And that's what you're going to attract yourself. And those are the types of clients you're going to attract. Focus on what you do want. And now, again, this is semantics. Want is also, another interesting word. So we just have to learn to use words that are more, not just palatable, loving, comforting, and assuring, empowering. So when I say I want to release, I'm releasing, because you remember, weight is baggage, it's emotions, it's toxins, it's all this, stuff, right? And why do I want to be on a diet that's going to put me into restriction mode and their body actually stores instead of releases? Eat
Absolutely.
Healthy food, natural portions.
Yeah.
Do some moving your body, and things will naturally happen. And people are like, oh yeah, but you've always been a fitness model. No, I've been 200 pounds like 4 times in my life because, as you know, when you have surgeries, all of a sudden you can't do something for 6 months because you can't be on your leg for 6 months. So 200 pounds, go through the surgery, go through recovery, eat healthy, move my body, take it all off. Now, is it a good thing that I haven't gotten the yo-yoing thing? No. And, I did grow up with eating disorders that kind of made it a little more complicated. However, you still have to choose the choice of finding a medium. This whole thing about restriction, and then you go back to eating, you're just going to gain the weight back because half of it's water weight, half of it's ethically and mentally ethically, right?
And even more than that, okay, the words themselves, okay, like want is fine. The word need. People don't realize if you say you need something, that's not a positive statement. You put it out to the universe that you need money. You're always going to need money. You're not going to actually have money because need is one of those odd words. It's like Mother Teresa said she wouldn't go on a march to stop, or the war on drugs, the war on cancer, the war on whatever. If there was a positive march, then she would go. But all of those things, when you put it out there, I refuse to use the C word with large letters.
TRY is another one.
Oh,
I spell that out because if I say it, I'm going to say it. So TRY. CANT, you have to spell it out so our consciousness isn't.
Exactly. And it's, yes, it is semantics, but when you start thinking about it, Mary Morrissey, I'm sure. Okay, Mary Morrissey says something really, really interesting that you really have to think about. But she talks about the fact that everything is created twice. And that is, once it's created as thought, and then it's created as being brought into being. And it really takes a long time for people to work their heads around, what on earth does that mean? Well, it's true. And like law of attraction, it makes sense. It's scientifically proven. You put it out there. We're not saying, you just sit back and go, yeah, okay, I'll have $1 million and I'll have it by Tuesday. And then you just sit there. It's like that old joke, the guy is whining to God and says, oh, God, you just left me there. I sat on the roof of my house in that flood for 2 weeks and now I'm dead. And God said, what do you mean? I sent three boats, 2 helicopters, police, dogs, like what more do you want? We actually have to participate. We can't just sit back and hope it happens. Yes, it is the law of attraction, and by attracting things into your life, but you have to actually be in it, be present, be with it, look for the things that are going to get you there.
I love that you said that because I love the movie The Secret, but I think it did a disservice to a lot of the public because everyone just thought I could wish it and it'll arrive. Yeah. And then, of course, the law of attraction, a lot of people think it's woo-woo. And there's a couple of other really amazing books that have come out, like E Squared, which is, actually shows you practical to, I love E Squared, Pam Grout's. Anyways, the point is, yes, it may sound like semantics, and yes, it may be hard to wrap your head around it. The more you practice it and you actually experience the results, then you'll actually start to get it. Hey, I'm not saying I'm perfect because I still catch myself in negative thoughts and I'll go cancel, whatever, And one of the things going back to some of, I know we've been talking a little bit about theology a little bit when you mentioned the word God, is every word is a silent prayer. Yeah. And I don't care what you believe in, if it's God, Jesus, if you're Jewish or you're Catholic, I don't care what it is. Just realize that when we talk in a weird way, it is a vibration and things happen. As you know, I guess you've probably heard this 1,000 times, is the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. We need to learn to step out of our boxes. And I'm 50. Excuse me. What am I saying? I just turned 51 November 1st. So
yes,
I was like, oops. But my point is, well, as we get older, as you know, we get a little more set in our ways. I think the beauty is that we still have the choice to choose to get out of our own way and break those habits. The excuse of I'm 51 years old and I've had 32 surgeries and I can't do this because is not an excuse. All right. So it's like, I'm 51 years old, right? I am bionic or whatever, and I still choose to do the things I want to do. And whatever I can't do, I get help with. I have an assistant help me with certain things. And then, here's the other one I get. Well, I don't have the money. Okay. I have been really, really poor and really, real wealthy and all in between. It doesn't matter where you're at. And I don't care when people say, when I was going through a really, really bad time and I literally lost everything because my husband committed suicide. I literally lost everything. I did, because there's no life insurance coverage when someone commits suicide. And I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? I literally went to a church because the church had a lot of people don't like going to churches. I get it, but there's a lot of free groups there.
Yeah.
You got to understand the reason why a lot of groups are run in churches, because it's free space. It's not because it's a religious group. And I finally had to have the strength and say, I need help. I don't know what to do, and I found the help that I needed, and I made some changes and rebuilt myself again. The point is, everybody's failed. Everyone, I don't care who you think is really, really wealthy. You don't think that every one of those people have had some sort of, whether major loss monetarily or a lot of other issues. And believe me, all the wealth in the world does not bring you happiness. A, there's a lot more responsibilities. Two, you don't know how to manage it. So don't just look at people in these little, palaces and going, oh man, if I had all the money, I could do all this. It doesn't work that way. More responsibilities, you have to be willing to be able to handle the money you have.
Yeah.
Let alone the money that you want.
Well, even more than that, what people don't realize, okay, even if you have all that money, you're still you, and you come with all your baggage. It doesn't just go away because you got money. Okay, that baggage is still there, so you still have to deal with it. We as humans, we're not perfect, and guess what? It doesn't matter. Perfection doesn't exist. If it did, oh my God, we'd all be so bored. But, on November 2nd, I turned 60. So I've been around a little longer, but I feel exactly the same way. And the fact is that, yes, it does seem like a lot of semantics. And yes, some people think a little bit of it's airy-fairy. But you know what? What have you got to lose? Try it. Honest to God, try it. Even if you think that I'm talking out of my hat. When we have applied these things, it absolutely changes who you are, how you are, where you are. And the fact is, as Carly said, doesn't always work. Oh my God, we all have negative days, okay? And I have my wallow times, and there are times where, things just get the better of you, and our not so pretty human face shows. And you know what? That's okay. It's okay, because you can pick yourself up, you can dust yourself off, and you can start again. The most beautiful thing in life is when you go to bed at night, okay, you just slough everything off. You wake up in the morning, and for that blink of an eye, before you get out of bed, everything's possible. It's a brand new day. Like, when you think about that, like, you can move mountains.
It's pretty amazing. And it's kind of an interesting word, when we use the word TRY, it's kind of fascinating because people are like, well, yeah, but if you TRY, then that means you're making a has attempt and blah, blah, blah. Just do baby steps. I'm always saying, just do it.
Yeah.
It can be a baby step. And there's going to be times you're going to fall backwards, and times you go forward, and times you go backwards. And I realized that Elaine and I, we're already into an hour, and me and her can actually talk forever. And I know we were supposed to be talking about some of social media, except her and I have a background of a lot of things. So I'm going to bring it back to you. And if there is something you did want to address, social media wise, and I'm not saying at the hour because I don't have time. I do. I just want to make sure that, we also don't want to make people go, oh my God, I got to listen to them talk for an hour.
I know. I just looked at the time and went,
do part two. This
I
could be
knew
part one, then we could do part two another day.
I like that idea.
Okay.
Absolutely. And yeah, the time goes so fast, but the fact is, Carly, everything you've offered here today and everything we've talked about applies to you and your business. Okay? Everything we talk about, all the semantics and all the putting in the effort and going into it with positivity and intent, there's nothing wrong with doing that in your business. you will find a difference. Okay, go after the clients that are going to make your heart just expand with joy. Why wouldn't you want to deal with people that make you happy? To me, that just makes sense. You know, it's easy. I absolutely believe we are going to have a part 2, because there's so much more. We barely scratched the surface here. The one thing that I always have my interviewees leave the audience with is a little nugget that they can implement in their lives, either business and or personal, right away. So why not give us a little something?
Okay, so I'm going to bring it back to social media. So I want everyone today to go to their Facebook settings. And I want you to check your settings and make sure you have your profanity filters that you can accept and literally moderate your tags. Here's another one. I bet you half of you still have your Facebook email instead of your own. Facebook went in and they created emails for everybody. And so you also have to, if you go into your settings, you'll see it'll say Elaine Lindsay at Facebook, I think it's .com. And then let's say you added your own email. They hid ours and showed theirs. So you have to make sure you go in there and unhide yours and hide the Facebook email. I think as a professional, you need to have a real email, not a Facebook email. Yeah. Make sure you have your information up to date, that you have your website. And another one, please don't have a little suitcase. If you have your Facebook page on there and it's not clickable to your Facebook page, people are going to click on it and they're going to get a freaking suitcase. Excuse my language. It's a very simple thing to do. You type in the name of your page and then it will hyperlink your page, and then you hit that. So that way when someone goes to your page, they can actually get to your Facebook page, your business page, from your personal page. And I'm going to stop there because I can go on forever. But I said it. I am so happy that I've been here, and I'm so happy we finally had a chance to talk, and I'm looking forward to part 2. And I wish everyone a fabulous, fabulous day. You can find me anywhere on social media by just typing in Carly, C-A-R-L-Y, Alyssa, A-L-Y-S-S-A, Thorne, T-H-O-R-N-E. And I am all over the internet, literally.
Yes, she is. And we'll make sure that this is available on Business Banter Plus TV with all the information that we have about Carly and how you can get a hold of her. This has been Elaine Lindsay of True Social Media, your host with Business Banter Plus TV, with my guest extraordinaire. So happy to finally have you for this part 1 in our ongoing interview. Carly Alyssa Thorne, it has been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much. It has been as well.
And we'll see you all next time.
Have a great day.
Make it matter.